Who knows why Peter asked the question? Maybe something had just happened where he had offended someone. I mean, that would be just like Peter, right? Maybe for a change, something that happened where someone had offended Peter. Or maybe the disciples were sitting around talking about the latest sins that were committed against them by all those people that didn't really understand their devotion to Jesus at all. Or maybe Peter was just plain curious. Regardless, Peter asked Jesus the question. In the Bible translation, The Message, it actually says, at this point, Peter finally got up the nerve to ask, which is funny to me because it never seems like Peter had much trouble getting up the nerve to do anything. He looked at Jesus and he asked the question, Lord, how many times will my brother sin against me and I forgive him? As many as 7 times? Depending on who you are, the question is either easy or maybe even strange. It might be easy for some people to imagine forgiving someone 7 times, but for others incredibly difficult. It could also be easy or difficult depending on the situation or your view of sin. I mean, it's easy to imagine forgiving someone for stealing your parking space at work 7 times, but maybe not so easy to think about someone stealing money from your bank account. Or how about having to forgive someone for hurting that person that you love that many times, over and over and over again? Jesus didn't waste any time in answering Peter. 7 times, no. 70 times 7. Now, what was Jesus getting at? What was he trying to say? Certainly it wasn't a mathematical formula that he was giving us to know exactly how many times to forgive. He was really saying something about the nature of forgiveness. We can't box it in or give it a number. How many times should we forgive? Forgive. If someone has done something truly horrible to us, forgive. When we want to, and when we don't, forgive. Now that's hard. For Peter, it was obviously hard enough at 7 times. What in the world was he going to do with 70 times 7? I think we find ourselves in that situation a lot, don't we? We want to be good, we want to be loving, we want to forgive, but it's just so hard because people keep screwing up and the forgiveness seems to never end. And we've got to keep forgiving. Why? Because that's what Jesus said for us to do? Sure, but I mean, it's not just that, is it? It's really because Jesus has forgiven us, and he keeps forgiving us over and over and over again. 70 times 7. It's hard to wrap our minds around, but in the end, that's what forgiveness is really all about. The act of forgiving over and over and over again reminds us that we're human and that we mess things up all the time. I'm so thankful that we have a God that loves us so much that he puts no limit on how many times he's willing to forgive us. 70 times 7 isn't really a number then at all, is it? It's throwing the numbers out altogether and letting forgiveness be the rule.